Of course, the country is back into campaign mode. Jubilee now eyes NASA zones in strategy. But at the top of page 7, Raila not ready for polls, claims Jubilee members of parliament. Let's focus on preparations for these two parties, NASA and Jubilee. With just about a month to go, we saw extensive campaigns being carried out before the August 8th elections. But in terms of preparation, what is in the in-tray for these two parties?
Given that one analysts have gone on record and said that to a very large constituency of people, the verdict of the Supreme Court was unexpected. A great number of people had expected that probably the victory of President Uhuru would be confirmed. But it was a wild card. It came out that Kenyans are going back to elections. So on the issue of preparedness, 60 days is a very small time frame. And I think what is at play now is a psychological game. You are aware that soon after the Supreme Court gave that verdict, President Uhuru and his deputy were out in the campaigns. They went to Bama Market.
Right.
The next day, they were in Nakuru. So I think this is just acing a psychological game. And also, I think the opposition, they really ought not to give this impression that they are unprepared. Because all this is about impression. The date is out. I think all they need to do is to bring out their troops, marshal all the resources they can, however limited, and get your supporters ready.
But again, just before the election, there was a lot of talk from both parties of how confident they were of this win. And the opposition came out and said, we have adopted a polling station, we have a parallel tallying center in the country and somewhere in the clouds.
Yes.
Our supporters will help us gather votes, so be sure that no rigging will happen at all. And then after the election happened, nobody was sure whether that parallel tallying center existed to begin with, and we had all these issues, returning officers or agents were not allowed to sign. In terms of getting their house in order, because that came out, in terms of the opposition getting their house in order, what do they need to prepare for in their strategy, do you think?
I think the critical areas the opposition need to prepare, one, agents. They need their agents to be in all the polling stations as much as possible, because it is the agents who could be able to secure the credibility of the vote, to secure that the votes which have been cast for their candidates are intact and they are not stolen. The other thing, just as you've mentioned, is the tallying center. The other time we saw that there were instances where the opposition said our tallying center has been raided by police. So they had somehow something like a collection center of getting results and kind of checking the trends. So they really also ought to have a central command area whereby those results are confirmed as they come in. And then the other thing, of course, that they need to focus on is to make sure that in the strongholds there is high voter turnout. Try to encourage those voters to come out so that you can be able to tackle voter apathy.
All right. I understand to move on to the nation, but take a look at page 10 there. At least 76